Hi, this is Rick Gualtieri, and this is another Tales of a Midlist Author. Today what I wanted to talk about is primarily for first-time authors. You have that first book ready, and you're wondering what to do. And you might have some questions of, should I push the button, or should I do something else? And I see this a lot. I see this, okay, I think the book is ready, I have a cover, I think it's edited, all that stuff. Should I push it, or should I do something else? Well, first of all, with regards to that cover and editing, double check. If you have the time, it's not out there. Never hurts to to go through it again. If you haven't gotten any opinions from friends or family, it might be hard to get beta readers if this is your first book. But get those. Seek out people you trust and get their ideas. Once you really are ready, then it comes down to a couple things. Like some people will say, well, why don't you build an author platform first, or why don't you do a pre-order? Well, a lot of it depends on your timing and what you want to do. To build an author platform, to go out there, start from scratch on social media, build up Twitter, build up Facebook, maybe Pinterest, do a couple events, build some, build a little bit of momentum. Honestly, it's probably going to take you a good 6 months, simply because there's a lot of other people doing it, and there's a lot of competition out there. You want to stand up from the crowd, you want to stand out amongst the crowd. And that's not, you don't do that in a week. First thing is acknowledge you're starting from scratch. Now, mind you, if you already have a social media platform, maybe you've been blogging, maybe you have a lot of Twitter followers and such, that's a good place to start. You already kind of have that built in which case, start gradually switching them over and letting them know, hey, I have a book, it's coming out. Here's some covers, here's that. But if you're starting from scratch, you need to ask yourself, okay, should I wait? Should I do all this stuff for 4 months on end, or should I put my book out there? The other thing is pre-orders. If you really haven't built up any buzz for your book, once again, you don't have that platform. You don't have a website, you don't have a Twitter account, you don't have that social media. Basically, nobody knows about you. The pre-order honestly is probably not going to do a whole lot for you. Yeah, it might do something. I'm not saying that's a given, but I would say 99 times out of 100, nobody knows who you are, so your pre-order is not really going to generate a whole lot. Okay, so in those cases, I typically take the stance of, very simple. When you launch a book, you have no idea how much will sell. I mean, I have a pretty decent fan following at this point. I'm very lucky to have that. But even so, when I put a new book out there, I have my hopes of what it'll do, and there are certain expectations I've come to rely on and such, and there are things I can do to influence that. But ultimately, it's the same with all marketing. It's a guess. It might be an educated guess, but it's still a guess. You don't know how much it's going to sell. Here's the thing, though: a book that is not released, you can gauge that very easily. A book that is not released will sell nothing. So something to take into account. Couple different ways to go about it. Yes, you could build that author platform, then put it out there and hope that works. Or you could put the book out there and simultaneously start building your author platform. Because the good thing there is, as you start to bring in some people, you already have a book to sell. It's none of this whole coming soon, coming soon, coming soon. Because that's what people forget. The internet has a short memory. So that's my personal opinion on that. A couple others. Some people will say, well, wait till you have multiple books out there. This is the same with that author platform. If you have the time and you are working on that, you're cranking out more than one story and such, because some people do write pretty fast and some people are patient. They want to hit this all at once. Also, maybe you have a backlist. This blog post is not really for, or this vblog is not really for you if you have a backlist. This is mostly first-time authors, but that's something else to take into account. Wait until you have multiple books ready to go. Then you could do one of two things. You could release one a month, so they build upon each other, or you can slam them all at once there. I know you, Howie, and Liliana Hart have mentioned this method before. Put all but one out there, and then the next month put that last one out there, so you kind of build a lot of momentum. That's one way of doing it. I would say it really depends on you, your pace, and what you're planning on doing with those books. So you're writing one-offs, you're writing a series, things to take into account, and also how long is it going to be until the next of your series is out there. Do you even know where you're going? So things to take into consideration. If it's really, okay, I have one book, I have some ideas for a sequel, but I'm not quite ready to work on it. My mind is blown. Put it out there and then start working on it. Unless you're really patient and you're like, okay, I'm going to treat this the same way as it might be traditional publishing. I'll have patience. I'm planning next year to launch 3 books, and I'll work towards that. That's great. If you can do that, if you have that kind of discipline to put together that kind of business plan and stick to it, honestly, you'll probably do pretty well in this business, because it really shows dedication to what you're doing. Some of us are impatient. I know I am. When I'm done with a book, when I know it's ready, when like my gut says this is as far as you can take it editing wise, I hit the button. I want it out there for the world to see. Another thing people will talk about is, and you hear this a lot, people swearing about it, that 30-day window, especially on Amazon. When you put out a new book and it gains some momentum, you have access for those first 30 days to Amazon's hot new releases list. If you get on it, it's a really good momentum builder. It can really like push a book. And some people will tell you, well, if you miss that window, you're dead in the water. I'll be perfectly honest, that's bullshit. Yes, does that 30-day push help? Sure. If you as an author get out there, you can build that momentum, you can get on those hot new releases list. Well, that's momentum that'll build. And after those 30 days are over, you'll probably still be on some bestseller lists and you'll still be moving on. That being said, your first 30 days, the book, sells a couple, maybe none at all, maybe okay. Doesn't really get on any lists. And afterwards you're like, okay, well it's dead. The book is never going anywhere. That's not true. This book is out there for as long as you decide to sell it. As long as Amazon allows this service and other booksellers. That gives you time to rethink things. Rethink your pricing, rethink your blurb, rethink your cover. All of these things down the road can can make a difference. My biggest seller, Bill the Vampire, it was out there for a good year and a half, pretty much doing nothing. Maybe I was selling 30 books a month, and hey, I was happy with that. I was like, hey, if I can make 30 people a month happy, that's pretty damn good. And then a year and a half later, out of nowhere, it just kind of took off. I did, and I like to tell people I have no idea why. The truth of the matter is, I did some playing around with my keywords. I did some playing around with my genres, and apparently, I managed to take it from a place where people weren't noticing it to a place where people did notice it. A little bit of skill, probably a lot of luck, but once again, living proof that that 30-day window is not the end-all be-all of existence. So just keep that in mind whenever somebody starts spouting, well, hey, if you don't make it big in your first 30 days, you're done for. That's complete BS. So anyway, those are my thoughts on whether or not you should hold on to a book or whether or not you should launch it right away when it is ready. Emphasis on when it is ready. Take into mind yourself, your plans for the future, your existing platform, if any, and gauge from there. And also remember, once again, a book that is unreleased sells no copies. So that's really just my thoughts on the matter. Anyway, my name is Rick Gualtieri. This is Tales of a Midlist Author, and I hope this series has been useful to you. I know I'm having a very good time recording it. I have a lot of ideas. Good thing about this business is there's plenty of stuff to talk about. So I hope to keep talking to you for quite some time in the foreseeable future. Anyway, talk to you soon.